Hi everybody. Today we're talking about this. Today we're talking about garlic and how to grow it in your own garden, on your own little farm, for the family's needs, for a year-round need of garlic. Today I'm going to show you how to prepare the soil, what to do to get it all ready, and then how to plant the garlic. So first of all, I'm just going to give a quick overview on the life cycle of a garlic plant and when things happen in the year for the garlic there. The first thing is, when you plant the garlic, it's usually sometime in the fall time. It is possible to plant garlic in the springtime. However, if you have a short season, it might delay you a bit too much and then you won't get nice garlic. So planting it in the fall can be a really helpful thing to do. When you plant in the fall, there's two things you want to look out for. You want to plant the garlic before the ground freezes too much, otherwise it's going to be really hard to get it deep down in the ground there. The second thing that's really important is that you don't plant it too early in the fall, because you don't want the garlic to start growing and pushing leaves out of the soil, because then it lost a lot of energy that now is freezing down and it's kind of really taking away from the spring start. So planting it about 2 to 3 weeks before the first hard frosts that might close the soil is usually ideal. And depending on your location, that might be beginning of October, middle of October. It could potentially be sometime in November. So it depends on your weather and your climate that you live in. When you plant the garlic, you basically take a whole garlic bulb and you break it apart into all the little garlic cloves. And then, as you go through, you sort out the nicest ones and you take those and you plant them. So for the planting part, there is one thing that's really crucial. Garlic has a tip that should always face to the top. And then on the bottom, the roots will come out. So you want that facing to the bottom. So when you plant it, you want to make sure you plant it straight into the ground, not with the tip down, not sideways, not whatever. You want to bring it straight into the ground, so when it starts growing, the roots can go right down and leaf can come right out. I'm going to show you here how on some other garlic that I have here, it's a little bit a smaller type. So if you look right here, these roots are starting to come out. So this would be the garlic bulb, and then there's some roots peeking out already. Now if we peel that off, you can literally see how they're coming out of the core, I guess. And then all in the back here is where the roots are pushed out. So you want to make sure this is planted facing down. And then here you can see a little tip already. That's where the first leaf is going to come out in the spring. Breaking them apart a few days early can really help the roots to start developing better, because while they're in a full bulb, the roots are held back from growing. Once you break them apart, the roots get the signal to start growing. So for the soil preparation, it's important that the ground is nicely worked so you can get the garlic deep down into the ground, because you want it to be well covered and hiding under the soil over the winter months, especially if it gets really cold. Now, in some regions where you don't get much snow, it can be of real help to cover the garlic with some mulching It could be leaves, it could be straw, hay, or other types of mulching that can help to keep the moisture and the temperature a little bit more consistent. Now, if you have lots of snow, it can handle a lot of cold because the snow will buffer that and it will kind of insulate it. In the preparation, we also look at the nutrients that the plants needs. In this case, garlic is a decent heavy feeder, so we want to make sure we give it something to eat so it doesn't get too hungry in the spring because it starts growing really early. Here for this time, we're using alfalfa pellets and we're spreading them on the soil, and then we rototill them in so they're mixed well in, and then we go ahead and we shape our beds and decide where the garlic will be planted, and then we'll make holes and plant it right down. Another thing that's really important for garlic is that you have soft soil. If there's a lot of rocks and heavy clay, the garlic will have a really hard time developing new bulbs in the spring and into the summer. So you want to make sure it's a soft, nice soil that's really good for the plant to expand without being damaged in that process. In the spring, garlic needs a decent bit of water, so you don't want to let it dry out too much. As it grows, it'll develop the leaves and it'll come to a nice garlic scape. It's basically the flower of that plant. Now, it really helps to twist that off, cut it off, break it off before it starts flowering because a lot of energy goes into the flower. Now, if you take it off, then the energy will be diverted back into the bulb production and then the bulb develops really nice. Each garlic bulb will come with some really big ones, maybe some small ones. They all will grow a plant. However, if you plant a bigger one, there's a higher chance of getting a nice big bulb next year. If you plant small ones, the chance is fairly low that you'll get nice big ones. It's okay to plant both because you can use garlic whether it's small or big. It just depends on what your goal is with it. Another thing that I really found can be helpful in growing nice garlic is a good spacing. If your plants are planted too close to each other, they're kind of fighting each other and they don't get enough light and they don't get enough nutrients and water. So giving them good spacing can really help them to develop better. So here you want to make a nice deep hole, and then you bring the garlic, like we said earlier, with the tip up and with the where the roots are going to come out, with the flat bottom down. So, and then we press it into the soil so it is nicely seated, because the garlic needs to have good contact to the soil. If it's just in the air, it'll dry out and not grow. It's important that you push it down so it actually has something to sit on. Now, there's many ways of doing this. There's machines that are used in the farming industry to plant this with a machine. There's machines that can help you plant it faster. But today we're just showing you how you can do it with just a stick and your garlic seed. So here we have a nice garlic bulb. This is what the garlic looks like when it finished developing and growing in the late summer. And once you cure it, which is basically letting it dry in a warm, dry climate, now your garlic is ready and dried for storage. And these layers of skins really help it to store longer. And as long as it's one piece, the roots won't start growing. Now, there's two main types of garlic out there. There's the hardneck, which has like a solid, almost woody stem here, and it's very hard and it's got a bunch of big gloves on it. The other type is the softneck garlic. The softneck will only have leaves here, and when it's dried and cured up, the leaves will basically bend over. There's no hard stem in the middle. Now, the other difference with hardneck and softneck is the softneck will have a lot of small little globes on it, whereas the hardneck has only a few big ones. So here we have a fully intact bulb. Now for planting, we want to split it so we can plant all these little globes as separate plants. And the way how you can do it is you can just peel off all the peel, and then you can try to break it apart with your hands. If you do it just a handful, you're probably fine. If you want to do a bunch, you might get really, it might really be hard on your fingers. You might get blisters and your fingers will be really sore. So I'm going to show you one little trick, and some of you watching might know this already, but some of you might not. This trick really helps in preparing garlic for seed garlic, basically in the splitting process. And the way how you do it is you put the hardneck stem facing down, and you want something solid. I have tried on different surfaces, and you won't believe how hard this thing is. It can break plastic, it can break other things. So you want to have a good piece of wood or metal, and then you face it down, and then you hold it sideways. Don't hold your hand over top, kind of hold it sideways, because this is going to pop out here. And then you go like this, and you just hit it hard really fast once, and then it'll split apart right away. So I'll show you how it's done. And now you have the hard neck here, the stem, and you can see where all the little garlic cloves were connected to the main plant. Now this we don't need anymore, that's dry, that's done. And then you can see here, now these are basically coming apart on their own already. There's like 1, 2, 3, you can literally peel them apart now. 4, 5, 6, this one has 8 nice globes. And these are now all ready to plant. Here we go. For the harvest, garlic will be harvested sometime mid to late summer, depending on the climate. And it's really important to make sure the garlic has matured enough so that it'll have nice, good taste, and it will be storable. Now, once some of the leaves start turning yellow and start drying up and turning brown, then you can start digging up your garlic, and you want to be really careful when you dig it so that you don't destroy or damage the bulbs themselves. Then garlic will need some curing time, which means it needs dry, warm weather. It can be cured inside, but then you need really good ventilation because you want to dry it out, and that will harden up its shell or the peel, and that will really help it to store well through the winter. So this is it for today for planting garlic. This will be the first part of a couple different videos that we'll make and put out for you to show you how to grow garlic and what to do throughout the season until harvest so you can grow nice garlic for you and your family. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.